You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com. Get one free audiobook today through Audible on us. Go to audibletrial.com/WAL.
The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is Liberty. Each week we strive to bring you the best guests in talk radio. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad delivers weekly interviews of noteworthy politicians, experts, and activists. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is bringing the party to the Libertarian Party and launching ideas in your direction. Check us out at johnnyrocketlaunchpad.com. You can hear me, Kurt Nelson, and the beautiful Heather Nixon talk about the ideas of liberty. Rock and roll.
Hey there, Liberty lovers. This is Mark Clare of the Lions of Liberty podcast, where we strive to bring you great conversations about the ideas of liberty 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Check us out at lionsofliberty.com.
Hey guys, this is Roger Paxton, and if you're fed up with the government running every single aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, then what's wrong with you? Check us out at thelavaflow.com, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow Podcast, striking the root every single episode.
Welcome to We Are Libertarians. I am your host, Chris Spangle. We Are Libertarians brings you all of the irreverence modern politics deserves. We explain to you what the hell is happening in our world today and how we can fix it by thinking differently. This is a podcast brought to you by the We Are Libertarians Network. Please be sure to rate and review us on iTunes, like us on Facebook, share this episode with friends, and support us through PayPal or Patreon at wearelibertarians.com. We are supported by listeners like you, so $1 per episode by pledging $5 a month helps us grow. We are always taking your questions and comments via email at editor@wearelibertarians, and I appreciate the several of you who wrote me telling me what a big sack of crap I am for not liking the alt-right. Oh, I took some hate mail, Greg Lenz.
As you should.
I know. I insulted...
Hitler did nothing wrong.
I insulted a great leader, apparently.
You did. Not everybody can inspire a nation and restore it to greatness, but apparently Chris Spangle, when that happens, that offends him.
Well, Donald Trump is beloved by our listeners. Who knew?
Well, it's not that he's beloved. It's like we talked, the alt-right enjoys Trump and then is going to vote for Gary, which is totally great. That you get the entertainment and then you get the libertarianism. I mean, what else? That's a win-win.
I just don't buy it. So we'll read some of those notes and follow up on them on a future episode. We've got more pressing issues today, such as where is Aleppo and Clinton Cash. And joining us is Mr. Chris Mayo.
Guys, usually a pleasure.
Yes, is it not this time?
Right, it is.
You've been over there showing me black Facebook groups.
Well, as our listeners,
I don't know what you were trying to imply.
Here, let me see said group. Let me
you gotta make me look for it now. Hang on.
What do they call themselves?
I gotta find it. I don't remember what it was now. I'll look for it.
I do.
It's the BET network logo, but it says EBT. Right.
I want to think that's probably an alt-right group, and you've been trolled hard.
Right.
I think so. They've been sharing our stuff, commenting on our posts, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
The alt-right gives. That's what I'll say.
Sounds like a nice operation.
Oh, God.
We've invited Mr. Harry Price on.
I know.
We invited Mr. Aaron Ebert on. And neither of them have shown up.
Aaron is understandable. I do feel bad for the guy. When your dog dies, that's a sad moment in a man's life.
That's not an excuse.
Yeah, it's your dog's. I mean, there's nothing worse.
Is what is more important
than
your dog, which you can replace, or being on a libertarian podcast, the best libertarian podcast.
This is once in a lifetime.
Right?
I can't believe you guys.
Twice.
I know.
You came with Sam Goldstein, though. You were part of the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
The caucus.
So I have no sympathy for Aaron whatsoever.
For
he should be here.
Dog?
It is my birthday eve, okay?
Oh, yeah, you're like Christ.
And he had a cake.
There are services at 11 o'clock. We all have candles and sing joy to the world.
He was bringing a cake.
He was.
I know. So because of this fucking dog, I missed out on the cake.
Gary made him bake it.
No, our thoughts and prayers are with the little dog.
Fido.
Aleppo. little Aleppo.
That's it. New dog name.
Aleppo.
And just for those dog lovers out there concerned, Aaron is actually right now at the veterinarian.
Yeah.
And just getting some pain meds, and everything looks like
I thought they were putting it down.
No.
That's what the picture
I thought
was
he
so
died.
sad. Yeah.
No.
That's just,
Yeah, no.
well,
She's
it's not nearly as sad.
This changes everything.
Right.
She's got some pain, and they're giving her some drugs, some doggy drugs.
So they're like just letting it slowly fade away, but doing so without any pain.
Yeah. Well, they're not putting it to sleep. No.
Oh,
they're just,
see, that's man.
they're just checking to see.
That's spending a lot of money on a dog.
This is like crazy. This is not good black groups.
Yeah, I don't know what that
It's
is.
not your typical black Instagram.
No, this
Yeah.
is like David Icke, Aliens, Alex Jones stuff. I like black Instagram.
Well, they're sharing Breitbart articles on Tim Tebow going to a minor league team.
Yeah, the Mets signed him.
Yeah, I saw
That is
that.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, good for him.
You know, winning record as an NFL quarterback, no one gives him a shot, can't throw, somehow went to the playoffs and won a game. And now he's signed to a minor league contract after 2 years of broadcasting
He doesn't give up.
in a sport he never played.
Right?
That's pretty awesome. And he's a virgin. There's something to be said for that.
That's very difficult to. Yeah.
At University of Florida, where you are starting quarterback for 4 years.
Right.
My God, kid.
Yeah. So let's just read some black Instagram here.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So
Is this like so Harry feels comfortable when he walks in?
right? So Harry may be here. Harry, another lame excuse from Harry. He's getting married in 2 days. So
Statist.
apparently that's more important than we are libertarians.
But not today.
Not today.
Right, so-
That's right.
It's not
So-
like his dog's dying.
Right. So we are looking forward to Harry's reception on Saturday. Complete coverage next week. So from Daily Hood Jokes,
Oh, God.
I swear these never last 2 complete days in any household, and it pictures Oreos and bleach.
That's a suicide joke.
That's right.
Black suicide. Awesome.
When your grandmother wants to surprise you with some cookies, but walks in on you beating your meat. And then Pepe's dropping the cookies out of surprise. A female. Sometimes I see girls wearing too much makeup and just wanna, and it's a girl asleep with a mop on her face. When you sleep over, but
This
you're
is cultural enrichment.
right. We're learning people.
Yeah.
Okay, we're teaching them a culture. When you sleep over, but your friend goes to bed without giving you a blanket, and he's covered in paper towel rolls. These aren't as good as the last round.
No, they're a little more like angsty and autistic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're more of the hardcore internet. They're not. I've never imagined that there are a whole lot of like hood rats on 4chan. 4chan. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't. You know, I've never met a black autistic kid.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Some of
You've both seen unicorns.
I've met Aaron. Some of you hoes need Snapchat taken away from you. And it's an emoji putting its dick in this girl's mouth. When you bust in her mouth and she say, "Okay, my turn," and it's the principal from Simpsons,
Skinner.
leaving,
Skinner, yeah.
Mr. Skinner leaving the door.
Yeah.
Well,
When you're finally comfortable enough to show Bay when you soft. And it's a cartoon where he's pulling out his pants.
Like Rugrats or something.
Yeah, it's
or-
right. Let's see here. It's
so
I don't know.
black people on Instagram are suicidal pedophiles.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, good. Good news. Good talk.
When you ask for nudes and she say, "Okay, hold on," and he's excited. Which, to be quite honest, that is one of the most exciting moments. Like you say, "Can I get some nudes?" And they go,
You ask that?
"I demand it."
No, you don't.
You don't?
No.
What are you?
I've never asked for them in my life.
Oh, see, you're missing out. I've got like 3 today.
From a dating website?
No, not from a dating
Facebook?
website. Just random girls.
Listeners, he
Right.
exploits.
Listen. Oh yeah, ladies, if you're single and you're listening, hit me up.
He's going to start humming on the microphone here in a second.
Howard Stern over here.
Amazing grace.
Oh, more with the black things. Gotta be a slave song, huh?
No, you listen. You when you're single and you're desperate.
You go around hounding people for nudes and singing Amazing Grace.
You sing spirituals, and you test out I'll show you guys later. I'll show you.
No. I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm
Thanks.
totally good.
Thanks, buddy.
Totally good.
They're of me, but
If you're the type of girl that you can be like pressured into sending nudes
there's no pressure.
to libertarian podcasters, I'm good. I'm good.
There's no pressure. Christy sends them freely.
Oh boy,
Christy Avery, one of our dear listeners. She's going to be so upset.
Oh yeah.
Why do people listen to this?
I don't know. I feel like we're very culturally. I mean, we are. We enrich people culturally with Black Instagram, autism, suicide memes, the sexual exploitation of lonely women that listen to libertarian podcasts via Facebook Messenger, which is permanent and probably hackable by the NSA.
Right.
I don't know. Can't believe there aren't more women in the Libertarian Party.
I don't know what our problem is.
Yeah, every time they join, nudes. Send nudes or I'm going to dox and post your address online.
I wish I were actually getting nudes. I wish I am not getting nudes because I'm a libertarian podcaster.
Well, it is your birthday eve, so maybe for your birthday.
Yes.
You will.
It's very generous
If you're
of you,
going to
Greg.
get Chris Spangle anything, female listeners, both of you, get Chris Spangle some Dear Leader birthday nudes.
Birthday nudes. They don't even have to be of you.
Yeah.
At this point, I'll take anything.
Yeah, just go find the oldest nude pics on the internet you can find, like Polaroid style, and say, how does this look?
I don't think, have we said that I was permanently relieved of my duties as boyfriend to Emily? Have we said that on the show?
I don't,
because people otherwise are going to like go, oh, he's a real dick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those things. That's real life.
See, Greg doesn't like to mix his real life with the podcast world, where I should probably be more like Greg, but I am not. So,
well, appears the suicide memes were relevant.
yeah. Oh, go.
Need some bleach in your cow gene?
Greg, I want you to put down your microphone. I want you to go in the bathroom, and I want you to look in the trash can that is next to the toilet.
Oh, I'm sure there's bleach, but that's because you're a tidy freak.
Yes,
Except you let your cat shit in your bedroom.
There's a gallon of bleach. Yeah, all over the floor.
No,
anywhere they want.
I'm just saying that they're,
this bothers you.
Their anal depository is in your bedroom.
I think I've heard this every time I've been here.
Yeah, does this bother you?
I'm your bro. I'm looking out for you, and that is it's a hindrance.
It hasn't been so far.
Like, are you in the mood and get sprayed with kitty litter? Surely that has to be a deal breaker.
Where am I going to put it?
In the little utility thing right here where the washer and dryer are.
I don't have room in there. That's the problem. I've got my washer and dryer in there.
Surely.
Any woman that I'm with loves cats.
Yeah.
And they are understanding that cats have needs. Sometimes those needs come in the mid-coitus, you know?
Well, there we go.
Really
Rule
helping.
34. If it exists, there's porn of it.
Can you imagine?
I don't have to. It's fucking right there.
I met a foot guy today.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Wait.
That's where I can't do that thing.
He is... I go, you look like a foot guy. And he goes, how'd you tell? How could you tell? I was like, because you look like a foot guy. You look like one of them perverts.
One of them perverts.
And this lit his fire, and he went into a full description for like, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to know, like, what's wrong with you?
Oh, God.
So,
I'm glad I don't have those daily... You look like a foot sucker.
I'm just...
You just got a foot sucker face.
You
want to lick my toe? That was a trap.
I really do have a weird life. That kind of conversation I have with someone every day, where it's like it's like real life Larry David over here. You're a foot sucker, aren't you? So
well, you have that's some kind of spotting technology, or like and it's a talent.
I should work at the state fair.
I guess.
So there goes one.
Yep.
I work with a guy. We actually made him a Facebook page.
Oh, God.
Well, I made him his own profile, and then gave him the password to it. But I still mess with it every now and then.
Set up a sock for somebody else.
Yeah, and then I gave him a public page.
And you're a father with 2 children.
Have I not invited? Oh yeah. So this guy, he was telling us sex stories. He's with this crazy chick that is apparently a celebrity because she was in a commercial.
The Watson's girl?
No, not quite that kind of commercial. But he was talking about he was banging her while she was punching him in the back. Or they were having sex and she was punching him in the back, which I'm trying to figure out how that works.
Massage.
And then he said,
twice the relaxation.
He said he was standing at the oven making bacon cheeseburgers the other day, and she come up and stuck her finger up his butt.
This is like real. It's not humor.
Oh yeah, this is real. I mean, he's not kidding. He's telling real stories. Yeah. So, have you guys heard of Kunot, Indiana?
It's like he goes on.
Where?
Kunot, Indiana.
Is that where that big sex festival is down in down by Bloomington?
That makes it even better. Oh, he's out there near Andy Horning.
Yeah,
It's
that's
when
where
I-
that big sex festival is down
When
there.
I hear sex festival, I immediately think Andy Horning.
Yeah.
Don't talk about my candidate.
Now you do.
Do not talk about my
Yeah,
candidate. We have a campaign event on the 17th at the
let me
Tivoli
invite you.
Theater in Spencer.
I want Lindsay to send me a check for that.
She won't go. I doubt she can go.
I haven't invited you. I'm inviting you now.
Well, so I don't understand.
So
Listen,
you created, how we created Bruce Ewer or Belinda Ewer,
right?
for Aaron. It's like that. But this is about his awful, wicked sex life. And if you just would have seen the picture I saw, this guy's a libertarian for sure. He's a black and yellow libertarian.
Actually, he still thinks we're liberals. He hasn't figured out that the bumper sticker says libertarian yet.
Well, that's because you love the gays, Chris.
But
Coke bottle glasses, greasy hair, name on a shirt, that sort of thing.
Hey, you could friend him if you want. He's kind of taken over his Facebook profile, but I had it set up. It was pretty good.
Oh my God, TC McGriddle chugs. Yes. Oh, look at that.
Read us about.
That's a 10.
Oh,
Pregnant,
Lord.
smoking.
She's very pregnant.
So we created the public page because we were trying to get him a reality show, but it hadn't worked out.
Well, I would think not, with that being one of the featured photographs on his profile.
As someone who works in entertainment, that would be the first thing that would
You were
attract
trying
me
to post like a dead deer hanging off a...
No, I was not. I was
your
the
boss thought, hey, isn't this
the
funny?
voice of reason.
A deer got caught and hung itself upside down on wrought iron fence.
LOL.
Hey, post this. Our listeners will love it.
I was like,
Awesome. You want to kill Rudolph and post that too?
I go, this is just going to make people sad, and we work for a comedy show.
Yeah. The idea is to make people laugh.
Oh, he is so libertarian. Does he
He doesn't know it yet, but he is.
10 bonus points for libertarianism if he wears these safety glasses all the time.
He does. He does, actually, yeah.
Is there a corrective lenses?
He's got prescription safety glasses. That's the definition of a libertarian. He's incapable of taking...
Single for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the sex life, lives in an area where there's an annual biggest sex swingers festival.
Well, so
in
he
the
just
United
moved out of
States.
his parents' basement. So
Oh.
but he got an apartment with this crazy chick that
Nice.
punches him and stabs him, and
Another
has, like,
requirement.
3 personalities.
She's libertarian too.
Yeah.
She will be. Yeah,
If
she
you're
doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
nothing but horrible football memes. So, yeah, that's another libertarian requirement. Let's see.
Can you believe Spangle doesn't like sports?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Someone took a dump in the middle of Walmart, and it's nothing but Brown's paraphernalia.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, this is why he's friends with him. Every girl's weakness, and it's a pair of Crocs.
Oh God! And they're like Bam Bam Bigelow.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta
Fire.
look at his public page that I made. That's
I'd tap.
every picture on there's got a story.
It shows a
And
photo
this is a coworker.
Yeah,
of two
his dad's my boss.
attractive young ladies who seem to be engaged in some sort of lip action with each other, and it says, "I'd tap that if those effing whores would move," and they're on top of beer taps. Okay.
Nice. He is a libertarian.
That's him,
Clearly going. He knows how to speak to ladies.
Oh yeah.
Who wants to go to the Dunkirk? Exclamation point. Cubs whipping that ass! Exclamation point.
He's a Cubs fan.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Makes
NASCAR.
sense.
Right now, yeah.
NASCAR.
Oh yeah, lots of NASCAR.
Him holding a beer.
He's a Trump voter.
Yeah, well, he probably will be. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anti-Tom Brady memes.
Yep. Trump voter.
Country music. He's at a country music concert.
Don't.
Wait, didn't Brady endorse Trump? Who did Brady?
Yeah, but he's got that Rachel Maddow haircut now.
Yeah, it's true. It's Rachel Maddow.
He does. He looks like Rachel Maddow now.
Only in America do you have a competition, COMPATION, to see who can eat the most hot dogs.
Hey guys, he works on airplanes.
But damn,
Nice.
but damn, LOL, I can eat, but how do they do it?
What was he doing exactly 15 years ago?
He posted a Murica meme, ironically. Off to Putnamville Raceway! ! Lil Saturday Night Racing. Oh, this has the N-word in it.
I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, he is every guy from my high school on Facebook. He really is something.
Oh, man.
Still more qualified for the presidency than Donald Trump.
Who's only, well, CNN has him in a poll that is ahead by 2 points and then only down 2 in the rolling average.
Did you?
Is this the poll that's missing like a huge demographic?
You mean the one where they oversampled whites? even though what they actually did is undersampled whites based on the last presidential race by 1%?
All right, so see this picture? He was telling us a story about the time he almost ate a dog turd. So seriously, he's sitting on his couch in the basement in the dark. And he's eating cheesy poofs, as he calls it. Cheesy poofs, watching a movie, all right? He drops one. He goes to pick it up, gets it close to his mouth, and gets a whiff of it, and realizes it's a dog turd. His dog shit on the couch. He's sitting
And
in
it was that dried inconsistency, he thought it was a cheesy puff.
Right, and he was so pissed, he threw it across the room. He doesn't know where.
The dog ate it.
He never found it.
Never found it again, yeah.
In his own shame.
Right.
Oh my God, my owner wouldn't even eat my poop. I'm going to eat it.
This is a real guy.
Well,
this is just...
you should fly that airline. Well, do you want to give an endorsement to your employer?
I'm not going to mention the airline here, but...
All right.
It's really this is quite the start.
Can't believe
to
the
a show.
airlines are failing and need subsidized, Mayo. You got dog turds eaters as managers.
We're getting mechanics as cheap as we can get them.
Apparently. What are you doing over there?
Harry just at 6:51 is telling us not making it. Sorry.
Yeah, well, he's getting married.
No excuse. It's my birthday eve. It is my birthday eve. How dare you? So I really showed him. I had to explain to him.
Getting a bit uppity, isn't he?
Well, I mean, my level of uppity, like, no, Harry's fine. Harry, it's raining, it's crappy here.
Yeah. Well, should we politic?
Yes, so we need to put like an intro at the beginning. I should put into our intro, like the first 20 minutes is just us bullshitting.
Yeah, thinking Harry's going to come and not.
Right. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then
like
we get to it.
The homeschool one, where we basically said, like, fuck, like 20 times? And then we talked about homeschooling. That was a good one.
Yeah, but that was little Brett Bittner.
Yeah.
That was one of the...
Self-paced.
Yeah,
that was an iconic episode.
Yes, we were on twice.
Podcasting at our own pace, yeah.
Hey, this is the third time.
Third.
This is a big night.
Yeah.
A lot of anticipation about this night.
I had just gone through like some sort of traumatic incident, as I have multiple times over the last 3 years, mostly self-inflicted. And I was just extra not giving a crap. And you have no idea how much I needed little Brett Bittner and that moment to happen at that point.
You were like belching and farting while he was talking about those like homeschooled libertarian kids that I'd never heard of. That always happens. I'm like the worst libertarian ever. Like, oh, so and so. Like, never heard.
I
of them.
sometimes
I
go.
haven't liked their Facebook page. They have like 6 likes. I'm not gonna go like.
Well, he
that
said
page.
he made a reference to somebody on Facebook. Oh, I think your wife is a big fan of hers. And Renee listened to it, and she goes, "I don't know what the hell he's talking about."
Yeah.
Well, Brett Bittner, assuming at his own pace.
He got mad at me today.
Did he?
Because of my I was just trying to stir the pot on Johnson because Gary Johnson, did what he did today.
Right.
And I was just like, you know what? This is fun. This should be fun. Everyone was so upset and angsty and like losing their minds this morning. I'm like, guys, the news, Trump's going to do something in like 30 minutes. It's going to be fine. Just wait.
He called for war crimes last night. They'll get to that eventually.
Like, Gary Johnson, like somehow Trump shut up today and Hillary shut up today, and we made the
Let
top
him run,
the entire damn day. But that was good.
Yeah,
No, Rob nailed it. I mean, mistakes happen, but you do have to be able to take you'd have to take the criticism
We got
a
to
little
be,
bit.
at the same time, it shouldn't shake your support,
Yeah,
but
no,
we also
no.
should demand that our candidates, not pretend we're the only country in the world.
Right.
So let's explain what happened. So he was on Morning Joe, which is an early morning radio program or TV program on MSNBC. And he was going through a series of questions, and
Well, it was sort of like what they would do with a Matt Lauer, or like what you do in a presidential debate.
Mm-hmm.
That was the point: bringing on a foreign policy expert, and then saying, how would you handle Aleppo?
right. How would you handle Aleppo? And he said, "Here, we'll recreate it." Go ahead.
How would you handle Aleppo, Chris?
What? Aleppo.
What is Aleppo?
What is Aleppo?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, dang.
Yeah. And then they explained it. He goes, "Oh, right. And afterwards, we'll read his response to that. I mean, he went on to give a very thorough explanation.
Well, I mean, he just wasn't prepared. But to his credit, literally every news outlet then referred to it as the capital for ISIS, which it is not.
True, yeah. Just the New York Times did
the
that.
New York Times
Right.
had to do 2 retractions.
Yeah.
The National Interest had to do a retraction. I mean, everyone got it wrong, and I'm like, this is just typical.
Yeah.
Everyone's
We're
throwing
Americans.
stones. Oh, he doesn't even know what it is. Yeah, well, technically neither do you. You've heard of it, but you
Right.
don't know what it is.
Well, once he realized it was Syria, he gave an answer on Syria. So clearly he knows Aleppo and Syria. He just did, So here's
Well, yeah, I mean, it's,
here's what he said. This morning I began. This morning I began my day by setting aside any doubt that I'm human. Yes, I understand the dynamics of the Syrian conflict. I talk about them every day. But hit with what about Aleppo, I immediately was thinking about an acronym, not the Syrian conflict. I blanked. It happens, and it will happen again during the course of this campaign. Can I name every city in Syria? No. Should I have identified Aleppo? Yes. Do I understand its significance? Yes. As governor, there were many things I didn't know off the top of my head, but I succeeded by surrounding myself with the right people. Getting to the bottom of important issues and making principled decisions, it worked. That is what a president must do. That would begin clearly with daily security briefings that, to me, will be fundamental to the job of being president. So I thought that was a great response. I thought it was
He owned it.
very characteristic of Gary Johnson's humility, saying, I made a mistake. And he got a lot of props from a lot of different people for saying that. Trying to pull up the article from, where was it? Oh, the Libertarian Republic, titled Gary Johnson Gains on Twitter Trends as Press Coverage Turns Positive by Daryl England. Let's see. My friend this is Reseth Oberg. Oh my, I don't know how to say her name. My friend KOD is right about what is Aleppo helping Gary Johnson. 5 reasons why it's helping. Benjamin Albright from apparently something to do with the NFL. A lot of respect for Gary Johnson for how he handled Aleppo Gate. Won't see that type of honesty out of the other candidates. Mark Lamont Hill, CNN commentator, and leans liberal. I appreciate Governor Gary Johnson's response, and I believe he was caught off guard by the question. Justin Raimondo is he with
Anti-war.
Anti-war, that's right, okay. Nobody cares where Aleppo is except the pundits who want us to intervene in Syria. Ain't
It's like
that the
him and
truth?
Hugh Hewitt and like the neoconservative foreign policy wing of like the conservative punditry.
Larry O'Donnell from MSNBC. Has Donald Trump ever used Aleppo in a sentence? Which is great. Jeffrey Tucker saying exactly what I think. Actually, Aleppo Gate is good for Gary Johnson. Needed that attention. Only 1 in 10 million people know. Plus, media tutting is tedious. Just watched the MSNBC exchange with Gary over Aleppo. And actually, what Gary was fantastic. He understands more than Clinton and Trump. Austin Peterson says, Trump and Hillary say awful, evil, idiotic things every day and no one cares. Gary makes one little mistake and everyone loses their mind. And Jameson Olher, UHLER, While Gary Johnson Googles Aleppo to find out what it is, the rest of the world is Googling Gary Johnson. And I think that this is absolutely right. I think this is fantastic. I was at work, and at work we deal with a lot of odd news stories. So in the mornings, I'm on a lot of different news sites trying to find funny news stories, odd news stories, things for our Twitter and website and app. And I was on the Daily Mail, and Gary Johnson's picture was there. And I was on the New York Times, and he was on the front there. I was on Facebook, and every major news outlet, like, I saw Raw Story writing about it. Mediaite was talking about it. I mean, he was at the top of every media outlet's website today, and that can only help, because I think once people actually figure out what happened, they go, the press, they're a bunch of assholes. Like, if you and I have brain farts all the time. If you listen to the show, I'm just one giant brain fart. And regular people have no place in politics, and this shows you, because the political class wants to suck up to Republicans and Democrats. The political class, the political journalists, quote unquote, people who basically are in nerd entertainment and cover politics, they want to be rich and powerful, like Andy Rooney ended up being. They want to be the next Woodward and Bernstein, so they can go to the Washington glitterati parties and suck up to Washington power. So, of course they're not going to cover Gary Johnson correctly. But some of the people that I watch every day, Chuck Todd on MSNBC.
F. Chuck Todd.
He basically covered it with, they started off with the forum last night from Hillary and Trump, and Chuck just gave it like, is this the end for Gary Johnson? Is this his Rick Perry moment? And then they said, here's what happened today, and then they played a bunch of other notable gaffes that have happened, like Howard Dean and
Joe Biden.
Some of these other things.
Stand up for Chuck. Oh, God, he's in a wheelchair. Everybody else stand up for Chuck.
Didn't play that one in particular. That's
a good one.
With All Due Respect, which airs on MSNBC and Bloomberg TV, it's like PTI, pardon the interruption, on ESPN. It's like that for politics with Mark Halperin and the other guy.
The guy with the shaved head that's a liberal?
Right, the guy that wrote Game Change. Fantastic show. I recommend watching it every day.
The Circus?
Yeah, The Circus on Showtime's awesome. Great, but With All Due Respect is their daily show, and it's great. And they covered it, and I take that back. Chuck Todd at the end of his show had a round table with a bunch of dummies who basically was like, how can you be president if you don't know what Syria is? Clearly, they were just spouting off whatever the line was, and they had not actually watched the clip. Then, With All Due Respect, they covered it because they had Gary on last night, and Mark Halperin was there this morning and got some reaction from him. And they were like, yeah, it happens. People mess up, and look, there's 15 things that Donald Trump has done this campaign that's worse than this. And it was just a misstep, and I'm sure it'll probably help him in the end, because people will find out there's a third-party candidate. When he said yesterday, he told us that the thing that he needs more than anything is for people just to know who he is. So it could be a blessing in disguise when people discover there's a third candidate in the race. So I think that it helps in the long run. I think if you look at Donald Trump, you see that these gaffes don't really mean much. In fact, they might actually help now in some cases. Or is Donald Trump just a freak?
I mean, it's a different kind of candidate. Donald Trump literally wasn't lying when he said he could walk into Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and his supporters would still come vote for him in the primary.
Right.
He has that kind of base. Gary Johnson, he has passionate libertarians, even though there's a bunch of,
We're a fickle bunch.
Yeah, a bunch of whining.
Fickle, is that your term for assholes?
Yeah. Oh,
it's your show, dude. I was just saying.
Selfish asshole.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go one episode without being mean to our own people.
That'll never happen.
No.
And I will never claim them. They aren't my people. They belong to you.
That's why you sat outside at the convention.
That's exactly right. Anyway, yeah, that's a good point. I'm sitting next to my county chairman when I was up for delegate, and there were 5 recounts. He oversaw a fraudulent election every time and never notified me while I was waiting outside to find out whether I made it or not. Literally, they can. They ended the convention. No one told me while I was standing in the other room.
Yeah, we adjourned and let Greg know on the way out.
I was Stephen Glandorf sitting there eating dessert alone at the lunch table in middle school or Glanzberg. But anyway, like for Trump, it's different. Like Gary's appeal is, oh my God, this is amazing. So there's this moderate, there's this centrist option that's been a 2-term governor, and his vice president's been a 1-term governor, ambassador to Mexico. Like these are competent, smart guys. Well, like that's a different kind of support than Donald Trump's voters who, I mean, they're rabid. They are rabid. They're passionate.
He's not Hillary.
Yeah, there's no, and it's what I've always believed is like there is no undecided Trump voter in America right now.
Right.
There are people who will stomach it, and we're going to stomach it because they will, unless Gary and Bill Weld make a compelling case to northeastern moderate country club Republicans that can't stomach the populism and ugly Americanism of Donald Trump.
Right. But
Gary gets a lot of support from the left too, and so I don't know. It's different for Gary. This is good because he gets name ID. It hurts him with the political class who he's been getting access from, because these people do thrive on how, like, their whole brand right now is we are the adult, compelling, informed, competent alternative. That this doesn't hurt that, but like with Chuck Todd and Hugh Hewitt, Britt Hume, those types, this is going to hurt a little bit, and I think Bill Weld's going to have to carry the weight on it because he's better at this anyway on these topics, and he's really who should have been before Joe Scarborough and I forget who the person that asked the question.
Who was it?
Mika Brzezinski.
Was it her?
I don't think it was her.
It was a guy.
It was the old white-haired guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it was the plantation owner on MSNBC. Very diverse,
right?
But yeah, like I don't think it hurts Gary. I think it might hurt him a little bit among the country club Republicans because he had so much momentum with Mitt Romney coming out saying he wanted him in the debates.
Every single article that I saw, and this was the top trending article on all these news sites that I visited today as I did research for our second topic. I saw the Mitt Romney tweet embedded, and
mittens,
right? And it does hurt because today was a day when you had the first kind of big event between these two, Trump and Hillary. And it didn't go well for either of them. I don't know. Did you guys watch it?
No, I didn't watch it. I think I posted that New York Post article where they were basically saying they were trying to decide who won, and the answer was nobody.
Which I frankly cannot freaking stand the who won question. That's so
agree.
Trivial.
I agree, but the whole point was this sucks.
So he's basically coming off of that moment where he was going to get pressed today on that, and
Mitt endorsed, or
and then Mitt
endorses him.
Mitch Daniels, the governor of Indiana and conservative icon, really, especially here in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, the least name ID of a conservative icon nationally within the GOP of anyone.
Right. And he said he should be in the debates. And Mitch Daniels is hosting next week, actually, a forum at Purdue University. So we are Libertarians will be there covering it, at least one of us.
Yeah. And I just find them so boring. Because it's like, this is what offends me. I take this seriously, and I'm a podcaster.
Right.
I take this very seriously because it bugs me. Like, and I've always said that about Gary. I said, theoretically, I wouldn't run a campaign at all and just let people know there was a third option, 2-term Republican governor, and not have him do appearances.
Yeah.
Because it bugs me that a lot of the libertarian people that run at the top of the ticket, or run for president, pretend the rest of the world doesn't exist. Yeah. And you walk in day one, and you don't have control of Congress. You don't set domestic policy.
Sure.
You are a foreign policy person. And you've been in the military, Mayo. And so it offends me that
you've been to Aleppo, haven't you?
Yeah.
Not Aleppo. I've been to Syria. I've not been to Aleppo, but yes.
Yeah, he flirted with joining ISIS for a while.
I came back. I'm sorry. But no, I made the point earlier today. I've been to Syria, and I literally had to, when I woke up and read that headline, I'm thinking, where's Aleppo? What the hell is that? And I'm thinking like guerrillas. Then it hit me. Oh yeah, we're talking about Syria. I could see, and I'm not.
You thought it was Haram based, brother.
Oh shit, another guerrilla.
Gary shot Harambe.
Damn you, Gary. Why?
We all know it was Bill Wells.
Yeah. He made him do it.
I think Austin framed him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, it's an inside job.
Bill Wells took the gun out of the trash can, went to the Cincinnati Zoo, but he felt conflicted because he was holding a gun, and then he shot our
technically
dear...
a weapon of mass destruction.
Aleppo.
Right. He destroyed one mass.
Yep. He used a tactical nuke on Harambe. But like, I know, and like, but it does, because damn it, if Gary Johnson, I really do believe he's got the best background to go in and on day one be an executive.
Does, yeah.
But
do you think that he didn't know what Aleppo was? Do you think that he didn't understand the question? Is that what
by
you think?
his response, I think that he had been coached on this to have a generic response. Like, yes, we need to have diplomatic relations with Russia and find a way to coexist with them and have a solution to an easy transfer of power, whatever he said. Something so generic that like John Kerry could have said it at a UN meeting.
Yeah, I don't think he's been coached. I don't know if the word Aleppo's ever came up in any coaching he's had.
It should just the humanitarian crisis is huge.
A lot of advising from the Cato Institute, right? I think they're the ones that are.
But when you're running I've seen 2 libertarian presidential campaigns up close, including Gary Johnson's.
Sure.
And
he's the first non-novelty.
Right, but
he's the first it's happening. Or
but do you
fed
do you understand the amount of complexity that is going into this particular campaign versus he had time 4 years ago? Trust me. I went to Gary Johnson headquarters in Indianapolis today and saw the complexity with which that operation is operating, and it's far and above what it was. I mean, there's actual phone banking going on there. They didn't have phone banking 4 years ago.
Which I just think is an enormous mistake.
But
because this gaffe, all the phone banking in the world would have never even gotten close to what we needed.
Sure. But
and like that's what drives me crazy is we're trying to run like the other parties. We don't have the resources. Like Donald Trump rewrote the playbook. He rewrote it.
Yeah, and we're still using the old Mitt Romney playbook.
We are.
But see, I don't agree with you. I don't think that you can be Donald Trump and out Donald Trump. I don't think that you will ever replicate
his quote on
what
The View was perfect.
Right.
Joy Behar, gun pressed to your head. Who would you choose, Trump or Clinton? I'd let the bullet go off.
Right.
And I thought, that is perfect. It's incendiary. It's a sound bite. It's going to be great, and people are going to laugh at it and be like, "This guy, I like him."
But that's what he's doing. He is traveling the country doing media interviews.
But you can just do media.
But But that's what I'm saying. There are also other decisions that have to be made. You have to have a complex organization to get on the 50 ballots. 2 days ago, he was put on the ballots. That's what a lot of that phone banking has gone towards. They're phone banking to raise his name ID. In strategic states like New Mexico, where he's now polling at 23%,
but, I mean,
or
they don't
Utah,
remember their governor.
But you know how politics works. You have to He hasn't been governor for 20 years.
I know, but I mean, like one media shot, one surge just does so much more than. Hey, have you thought about Gary Johnson? Mitt Romney wants to include him in the debates
and getting hung up on.
But you have to understand that when you're running as a libertarian, people still expect you to do that other stuff where you're not a serious candidate. And what actually wins elections, which Donald Trump is going to learn the hard way, is ground game. It is organization, it is phone banking, it is door knocking, it is yard signs, although less effective than phone banking and door knocking.
But that works in the primaries, too.
Being a third-party candidate, you have to do, 2 or 3 times more than the other candidates with a quarter of the resources.
Yeah.
I mean, so I can understand where... Is it the best use of your resource? Is it the most effective use of your resources, having a phone bank? I mean, that's debatable, but you can't pass up any opportunity. I mean, every opportunity you get, you have to do it. If you have people to run a phone bank, run a phone bank.
Weld and Johnson are doing exactly what they are supposed to be doing, which is fundraising and doing media appearances,
right,
and doing meet and greets. That's exactly what they should be doing, and that's what they are doing. And I look at this and I go, you know what? When you are traveling and you are running ragged, I remember when Gary came in for an event at IUPUI 4 years ago, and he got to IUPUI. He had just landed. He was shuttled to IUPUI. He had 10 minutes to kind of just relax and sit by himself, and he chose to just kind of like go sit in a corner and sit there and just have downtime for 10 minutes. Then the students came in and we had a meet and greet with the y'all chapter. Then the media came in and he did a meet and greet. And then he went and was in the middle of a rally with Rupert and Andy Horning, and then after that, there was a fundraiser for him that we took him to, and then he was there from 4 to 11, shaking hands and kissing babies and talking to students and taking photographs, and then he went to the hotel completely. I mean, there was a point where he was just, like, when I saw him just sitting in that chair, and it was around this time, 4 years ago, it was sometime in September, and he just went... and he's getting phone calls, and he's, because people want the candidate's opinion on what do you want us to do with this? What do you want? They're not micromanaging, but they're just think about when you're traveling, and if your travel schedule is 6 days a week, and you have no body man, he might have a body man, he might not. He did 4 years ago, and every single day it's just a constant grind. You don't have the time or the brain power to study up on every issue when you're running for office. You just don't. And so I do have, especially if you're like in New York City and you're getting to MSNBC at 5 a.m. and you're doing that, your brain isn't firing on all cylinders. And so when you're asked about Aleppo, you may know what Aleppo is, but in that moment you're trying to focus on the lights and the interview and hoping this goes well, and you're asking, there's just a ton of things that can go wrong in this instance. And so I look at it and I go, I get it. I understand how you can make a mistake. Now, I totally understand your point, but what you're talking about had to have taken place for the 3.5 years he wasn't running for president. That's the time when you understand what Aleppo is, and you'll come up with these answers and you craft those policies.
But I mean, as a libertarian, though, that's the thing, is it's simple.
Sure.
It's like, look what we did in destabilizing the Middle East. And Aleppo is the exact consequence of such actions. That's the beautiful thing about libertarianism. We don't put American lives at risk and go around trying to build empires. We bring people home and let their cultures of that area come up with their own systems of governance.
Sure.
That way we don't have people trying to attack us at home. I mean, these should be answers that are just so simple and basic.
There,
You're probably right, but I think he had that answer built, like, prepared for the word Syria.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
when you threw the word out of nowhere, 5 o'clock in the morning, you've been traveling, they threw the word Aleppo at him, and it's like...
But isn't your instinct to say... Now, what do you mean by that? Would you please clarify? There's a way you could spin your way out of that. I agree, yes. I mean, that should... and that's what I love about him, is he's so honest and sincere, and that's why he's going to come out smelling like a rose. Don't get me wrong. The best thing that happened to libertarians all day was him not knowing what Aleppo was.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because at first everyone jumped on him, then they realized what a good person he was, and now all the sympathy is starting to pile in.
Well, yeah, because people look at it and go, what if I were in that situation? Right. The media is...
It worked perfectly.
And the other part of it is that you are asked the exact same question 100 different times every single day, and you're on these... You listen, if you consume as much news as we do, you recognize there's patterns. And so...
See, I don't think we do. I think libertarians get different questions.
No, I'm saying you and I. When we watch news or we listen to the talk radio stations, Greg and I watch and read a lot of shit for this. It doesn't seem like it, especially on my end. But we read a lot every day trying to make sure that we do put out a product, a good product.
Not just memes.
Right, not
this
just
thing doesn't
memes.
run just on memes.
But the more you input, the better the output. And you see, if he's going to be asked about Syria... They're going to input Syria, output Syria, answer. And that was, I'm sure that's why he didn't get it, because his brain was like, all right, we're on foreign policy, Syria, Iraq, emails. It's just the same keywords over and over. What reporters ask are not, guys, if you'd be shocked.
But I mean, now we're
at how little journalists, quote unquote, try.
Well, but that's the thing, is we're at a different stage.
Right.
We're a legitimate threat, and we're not pulling from Donald Trump. We're pulling from the one they want. And so we're going to get questions that are gotcha questions all the time and make it look... They're going to try to make us look like we're unserious and vapid flakes that, yes, we have good answers of, I'll just get rid of government. But when you step in on day one, you don't have that option.
No.
Well, he doesn't get a line item veto as president of the United States. It's really easy to be governor veto when you get a line item veto for spending bills. When all of a sudden you have to broker deals through Congress, it doesn't quite work like that. And I love Gary. He's the nicest guy in the world, and his response, I mean, it's going to work perfectly for him.
Right.
But damn it, like you're commander in chief.
Yeah.
There's very little room for James Weeks moments. And this was not a James Weeks moment, but we've got a situation in Indiana where our lieutenant gubernatorial candidate put a nickname on the ballot. And
Tell us how that happened.
On election day, we're going to have so many people give a shit for it. And there's a rationale behind it, but those of us from a different part of the state don't understand the rationale and go, yeah, well, you know what's going to happen? It makes us look stupid. And so it's going to be an issue. And so
for that, we'll have Chris Mayo fill us in on the specifics.
No. So yes, that person thought that was a rational thing to do, but it wasn't. It isn't. And he didn't see it coming, but
Flavor Flav,
right.
Yeah, boy.
It's going to be, we just have such people are looking, and Bittner says this all the time. I know. People are looking for any reason not to vote for a libertarian.
Yes. Yeah.
And they are going to, it's not the reason, so I was at work today, and a guy goes, yeah, I know your guy's not going to win. I'm thinking about it. Your guy's not going to win.
Just want to let you know.
So I hate Hillary. I hate Trump. Your guy's not going to win, so I'm going to vote Trump. And I go, oh, so you're a pussy. And he laughed, and he goes, no. I go, if you believe in Gary Johnson, why are you not voting for Gary Johnson? And he goes, well, because he's not going to win. I go, he's on all 50 ballots. He's mathematically able to win, just like the other two. Why are you not going to vote your principles? And he said, I don't know. I just don't want Hillary. I said, so fear. So you're afraid. You're a pussy. And he goes, yeah, you got me. Now, this is a technique that I don't recommend for
one person in America to be afraid of.
He doesn't have a black eye,
I mean,
so it worked
people
out.
on her staff get killed.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a little afraid.
I'm not real comfortable with the show today.
No. Yeah. I'm with her.
Yeah. We're cool, right?
Right. Yeah, we cool. Yeah. So,
when the FBI director's afraid of you, you're pretty fucking scared.
So, yeah, I mean, people look at James Weeks, or they look at the ballot name, or they look at, my Facebook, or they look at Greg's memes, or they look at, Chris's face, or what.
Thanks.
They just look at it and they go, well, I don't like this, so I'm not voting Libertarian. They're making an excuse for their own fear.
Well, yeah.
They
need a justification because they're not ready to make the leap.
Right.
Which
makes them both pussy.
Right, which is the more people... you've been trying to build a county party. How many times... you just were at Hobnob.
Right.
Did we get treated like the redheaded stepchild? Or were we the nice, the interesting pet, oh, these are the Libertarians.
Yeah, this year,
we were
non-queer
hating Republicans.
They were friendly. We were a novelty, and they were friendly.
Right, because you're not full threat.
We've been hated before. It just depends. It depends on what's going on that year.
Yeah.
But, no, this year we were, well received. They patted us on the head and said it was cute that we were there. And,
it's nice for now.
Yeah.
Do you want to get a picture? Right. I'm going to put this on Instagram.
Oh, the Libertarians are here.
Mike Pence has a long record of libertarianism.
Yep.
Probably heard that.
Right. So we have to act to a higher standard because we're held to a higher standard by the media, the power structure. Because here's the truth. We don't believe in the power structure. We want to destroy the power structure. And the people who have power don't want us to do that. And so they will find any opportunity to stop us. And so they will come up with cute little phrases and cute little things that will, that they'll plant that will, these little turns of phrases like, Gary Johnson. I genuinely believe that a lot of the anti-Gary Johnson sentiment is coming from the alt-right crowd. I genuinely believe that some of that anti-Gary Johnson sentiment is spawned by the right trying to demotivate libertarians to keep them from voting for him. And you see people, because here's how...
It's not to keep him from voting for him, because I have some of that. I've had that the whole time.
Sure.
He doesn't make a shiver go down my leg like Chris Matthews said about Obama's. He's an apologetic libertarian that makes his message fit to the crowd he's in front of and doesn't want to rustle any feathers.
But if you can get a base to find 3 reasons to not vote for someone in our echo chamber world, then you have secured not just someone who will not vote for that person and stay home on election day, they will also become attackers of other people who support that person. And if you look at the modern coffee shop, when you had the cigar store or the coffee shop of 100 years ago, we have Facebook and social media. Libertarians are attacking libertarians, and they always do it in 3 bullet points. Well, he's for TPP, he's for this, and he's against this. And like the guns rights thing, people who are saying that they're not for Gary Johnson are saying things that, like, they're repeating things that they've seen on Facebook or have heard, but they're not actually things that Gary Johnson believes.
No, they're looking for justification too.
Right. They're looking for and so it then becomes a social, people don't want to feel shame. And so
it wasn't my pick.
If the rest of the crowd starts going one way, then they go that way as well.
Did you guys read all the comments when on Romney's Facebook when he made the post last night? Like? Oh my God, he was getting blasted. It was terrible. It was all
from what, Tea Partiers or what?
Trump supporters, basically, just blasting them, telling them, you're
social conservatives.
Yeah, big time. Yeah,
Rick Santorum types.
That's the Gary Johnson was Democrat, and Romney is mad that he didn't get his way with Trump, and they were just tearing him apart.
2 days ago, Mark Levin announced that he was going to vote for Trump, and so now Glenn Beck becomes the last conservative talk show host that will not vote for Trump, and he basically said, I'm probably going to hold my nose and vote for Gary Johnson because
thanks.
I'll explain that in a minute. And he basically is like, I'm not going to do it. And he said the amount of vitriol, it's one of the worst nights of social media that he has ever had because Trump supporters were calling him a pussy and, like just that he's killing the republic and all this stuff. It's insane. But his justification, Mary Matlin was on With All Due Respect today as well. Mary Matlin, switched to the LP, and she said that Gary Johnson is not a libertarian. And when they challenged her on it 3 times, she really had no explanation. And so her reasonings were very much like the Glenn Beck gang's reasonings, is that basically he's not a conservative who likes the Constitution. He's not Austin Peterson. He's not pro-life. He's not, the same justifications that the Ron Paul crowd use. And so if you are not a right-leaning libertarian, then fuck off. We don't want you in our movement, which is the exact wrong-headed thing to think. You need a Gary Johnson to appeal to the left, to build people from the left, and to speak to issues that people like myself care about, left-leaning libertarians. Like, I don't believe that the best way to grow the libertarian movement is to talk about how the 1% needs to be richer. No political movement has ever spawned from that place. It all comes down to, here's how libertarianism helps the poor. That's, to me, more inspiring than anything. And I wish Gary Johnson were a better messenger and he could kind of break through that kind of stuff. I mean, without every media appearance that Bill Weld was more impressive.
And I feel like Mayo hasn't got to talk a lot. And I know you feel the same way. You felt the same way early on. I did.
What's that with Bill Weld?
No. There's like about Gary's just his demeanor.
Yeah, no, I agree, but
he's a great candidate.
He is. I agree with him on
my particular flavor.
I agree with him on most of his positions. I don't agree with anybody 100%. And the experience between the two of them is incredible. I think outside of being a former Secretary of State, I mean, that's a lot of experience. Well, exactly, and we'll get into that, I guess. But that's a lot of experience to take into the White House. I mean, that's huge. It's a great ticket. But no, you're right. I mean, if you're trying to appeal, the whole point in having Gary Johnson and Bill Weld was to have candidates that can appeal to people outside the Libertarian Party. But you also have to be able to sell it. And like Gary Johnson's never going to have that Obama DNC speech. He's never going to have that George Bush 9/11 speech.
I hear you.
He's just never going to have that. And it's. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I understand him. I like him as a candidate. I like what he brings to the
Best
table.
Choice for this election.
But it does make it harder to
swallow.
Yeah, it does.
But do you think though that
go ahead.
Well, I was just. Because I don't want to. I love Gary, like I do. I love Gary, and you're right. Right libertarianism has never worked. It will never work because its market appeal is about 25% max, and it's hardcore economic nerds. And after that, or some fringe types that hang out alone.
Right, and then on top of that, those people are so antisocial that they make it uncomfortable for them. Yeah, make it uncomfortable
they
for
spam
people.
People's Facebook walls and run for Senate.
Oh, Derek.
Sorry. But that's the thing though, is like, so it is time to try left libertarianism. I just, there's a way to do it. There's a way to have the Oprah moments. There's a way to do human, like, when I talk about running a political campaign, if I'm Gary Johnson, hell, do something like Letters from a Birmingham Jail. Do a campaign event and go and talk about criminal justice reform and go into the prison and say, no, I'm going to be in here today.
Right.
Or instead of saying we're going to go out and phone bank, no, we're actually going to go clean up the parks initiative. We're going to show that we do it and we don't need a government to go out and tell us to do it because we care about our communities. Make that a global or, a country, a statewide push.
You got to make a scene without looking like a clown.
Right. So, it can be a PR campaign.
Right.
But, granted, no one can win without the traditional infrastructure. But there are ways to do it that are interesting and innovative rather than saying, well, this is the playbook, so let's do this and hope to God someday it's still like this and nothing's changed.
I think Jill Stein did that yesterday, being at the burial ground for the pipeline.
Yep. Yeah,
but the only problem is it was totally overshadowed with everything else that went on with the other three candidates.
The only people that covered it. And so this is sort of where I think Gary at the beginning of this run said, 90%, I think he said it to Glenn Beck. He said 90% of what I did in 2012 was a waste of my time. So I'm going to focus on the 10% that worked. And he did do a little bit of that in 2012. So I wonder if maybe that was part of the stuff that they didn't feel was that effective.
Well, it wasn't the right moment.
Didn't he make a joke saying he did too many podcasts in some kid's mom's basement or something like that?
That's funny.
Which I think didn't Ripley and Joe
Yeah.
But to his point, if you're running for president, that's probably not where you need to be.
No, and that's the thing too, is like Gary's such a nice guy. He tries to find common ground with whoever he's talking to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like he's good. I mean, he can be whatever guy he wants to be because he's a good politician. He can be whatever he is whatever room he walks into. But at the same time, I just want to see Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
And I want to see Gary Johnson be Gary Johnson. And if you don't like me, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
Because Bill Weld was strategic. Bill Weld was to get the Romney wing with hopefully some money and policy chops, because Lord knows we need it.
Yeah.
He gives us credibility in ways that every person I talk to that's a disillusioned Republican sees Bill Weld and they're like, damn,
I wish that ticket was flipped.
He is.
And that's their out. That's their justification.
It is.
Because Gary's the one that's going to be a bigger draw. Gary speaks to the women voters that hate Donald Trump, hate suburban women.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen numbers like this. Like, he's Hitler for suburban white women because he's the cyber bully that their kid gets shoved into a locker.
It is the number one reason. There was a poll out in the last couple days. I forget what poll, but basically the reasons it was non-college educated whites.
Yeah.
And with
that's what this election
either
is
a college diploma or no college, a high school diploma or some high school. And by and large, it was like a runaway landslide. Women hate him.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And the men in that category
love him just as much.
No, the men in that category said that it was his treatment of women that they're not going to vote for him. And Hillary Clinton had a huge lead with that group. And the people that weren't going to vote for Hillary in that group didn't like Hillary because of her email scandal. And so I found that to be fascinating because I thought, like you, I was like, well, that's an interesting poll because that flips the conventional wisdom on its head.
Well, Washington Post had an article out today that broke that down.
Okay.
Yeah, and I get it, but he is the only candidate I've ever seen that won a primary with ever getting above 31% favorable rating.
Right.
It's hidden support.
Right.
It just is.
It is.
It's like we were saying. It's like, God, that
It's,
racism feels a little good. I'm only going to do it in a private voting booth. Like,
shall we
make
call
America
it?
Great? I love Hillary.
Shall we call it the Invisible Empire?
Yeah, but I mean that's what it is. It's
right.
it's a I'm going. I just don't know who to vote for it. Like standing around in the church narthex at the United Methodist Church, which are all white people, where Chris and I went, and the baby boomers, like, that Donald Trump, he just says things I don't like. Every one of them are voting for Trump.
Right, yeah.
They ain't voting for Gary. There's no way.
Maybe if Donald, you pulled the hat and we could put some eye holes in the front and the top of the hat, so then this invisible empire, you could cover your face and people wouldn't know who you are, but you could still attend rallies together. Maybe we could enforce standards. I don't know, in the community.
My neighborhood surprisingly is full of Trump yard signs. It's more Trump yard signs than I've seen. Okay, it's middle class white,
south side
of Indianapolis, siding 2-story houses or whatever, but. I haven't seen any Hillary signs. I saw a couple Bernie signs early on. Those are already gone. And 4 years ago, there weren't any Romney signs or anything.
No. Mitt Romney was never
no, there was no excitement there.
No, he's, Donald Trump's polarizing.
Yeah.
His people are his people. The thing, though, that I think, me personally, everyone's getting wrong, is why would you assume that a guy who 30% of his supporters were first-time either voters or Republican voters, and he got the highest number of votes for a Republican person seeking the office or the nomination in history by a ton. Mm-hmm. Why would you think the standard model holds up? There is no standard model for a guy who they literally ride around on their, hover round and, take their disability. But by God, they love him, and they loved him on The Apprentice, and they just like a guy that says you're fired and tells it like it is.
Yeah, that's why I think the Washington Post poll that just came out with 75,000 sampled, I think that is a really interesting look at a lot of different places. And Gary Johnson was at 23% in New Mexico, and
Utah is killing it.
22% in Utah. So I think I check that out. I think did we put it in the Daily Links?
Yeah, it was in yesterday's Daily Links.
So to me, Gary, there is only one choice. If you watch that last night, I chatted with the state chair today, the Indiana, Joe Houtman. We're going to have him on, and he's got some things to say that I think are really interesting. He's just listen, there's going to be a president, and you can have a tantrum, and you can kick and scream, and you can say, well, this is not my guy. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a president, and the world exists, and the government will exist whether you want to buy into it or not. You can pretend that the government doesn't exist until the government reaches out and shines its light on you, and you can't scamper, little cockroach. He just said, this is the best chance to save the country. We have to turn the ship around before we can start even advancing it back towards liberty. And he's like, Gary Johnson is that best chance. And I said, so I was not state coordinator, but I was executive director 4 years ago, and was the main point of contact for people wanting to contact the Libertarian Party. And so we had anywhere from 2 to 5 people sending in emails or phone calling at this point. Right after Labor Day, maybe 1 to 5 people sending us an email a week saying, hey, I want to know more. I want to know more about Gary Johnson or Rupert. And I said, so what's it like now? And he goes, we're getting 6 to 12 a day. He said, the amount of people that are coming into campaign headquarters in Broad Ripple, we're getting a walk-in.
Overwhelming.
We're getting a walk-in a day at least. People are coming in, volunteering, just doing phone banking all the time. It's just because Joe was working out of the Rupert headquarters almost full time at this point for the campaigns last time. So he is the best barometer of the difference. And he said it's just insane. And I think that the people who are going to take their ball and go home, I guess that's fine. But to me, that just seems so self-serving because
I think they're so statistically irrelevant in election turnout.
Right.
Okay.
And he just said,
move to New Hampshire.
You've got all these people who are coming in, and none of these people are libertarian enough for any of us. Just, they just want, just like all of us were when we became libertarians. It's like, we need good examples showing up. We need people like you pointing at me saying, showing up and teaching these people basic principles. And I was like, yeah, I know. I have a podcast to do that. But he's right. He's dead right. He's like, listen, Gary Johnson's not perfect, but he is, for a guy like Joe, who was at the founding of the Libertarian Party in 1972 and has been around this long, I've never seen someone so excited. Like, Joe is just excited. Giddy. He's giddy. He literally is giddy as this 60-some-year-old man can get. His hitching his giddy up. I mean, because to him, it is fine. Like, when you work so hard for so long for something, and people finally, like, I've done it for nearly 10 years now. I was so excited that Gary's gaffe was getting attention today. Like, it didn't even bother me. Like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, here we go. But then it started, like, popping up in push notifications, and the New York Times is sharing a Facebook post about it. And I'm just sitting here going,
it's happening.
Holy shit. We're a push notification. Like, it just really, when you've done this when I joined the LP, like, a gaffe is news, finally. Like, but
news is news.
We had literally a candidate last election cycle drinking goat's blood, and we couldn't get national news or on Politico.
Right.
He doesn't know what Aleppo is, and we make Politico the entire day.
No, people didn't know who Gary Johnson. This point in the cycle, people 4 years ago would walk up and go, "Who's your candidate?" And I sat down at lunch today with my two bosses, and they go, "So this Gary thing." I mean, they know who Gary is.
I know.
It's incredible to see, and it is. No, he is not a perfect candidate, but we're so far.
Who cares?
The greatest oppressor in our lives is our government. And if we got rid of government tomorrow, there would be another oppressor, and you're always going to have to fight for liberty. And it's never going to be perfect. Everything dealing with humanity is messy. And it's just really an exciting time to see so many people respond to the call for the first time, when you can't believe the shit I took when I left I left my job as Abdul's producer, a prime spot in the conservative movement, a radio show producer for a talk show host in Indianapolis. It was a prime spot in the conservative movement. And I had a lot of Republican friends that I had worked with going back on campaigns. And when I took the job at the LPIN, you have no idea the social outcast that I became. State legislators who used to send me Christmas cards wouldn't even shake my hand when I joined. And to now have our presidential campaign candidate's gaffe be a push notification, I go, yes! And it's because I put in those hours, and I put in that sweat equity for to spread the message, and so yeah, Chris, I mean, you've been doing it for years, you understand.
Well, and using your story as kind of an example, or being the barometer there, I've been to a lot of events here the last couple of years, and especially this year, it's incredible. We were talking about going to the Hobnob, which is our Indianapolis Chamber of Commerce's annual political event, and just, if you were an outcast 4 years ago or 6 years ago or whatever, I mean, I literally had state legislators, candidates that aren't but will be, coming up and talking to us, wanting to know what we're doing, what we're working on, asking about Gary Johnson. Here's this event where it's all Chamber of Commerce members, voters, and politicians, and each party gets a table there, and we set a table up, and we had a lot of Gary Johnson stuff up there, and I'd keep my eye on it. And anytime I saw somebody walking over there, I'd go ask them. And they were wanting to know how they could help with the campaign. I mean, I was constantly writing down Joe or Angela Fisher's, some of the campaign volunteers' email addresses and phone numbers on the back of my business card to give them to them, because they wanted to know how they could help Gary Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, we have state coordinators here.
Yeah.
And we're not even a targeted state. We're not one of the top 10 targeted states.
I spent $30,000 on memes.
Right.
Rolling in dough.
Right, which no,
that wasn't real. That wasn't true.
I know, and that was, but
it was brilliant trolling.
That's what you
do. That's how you get the press.
Let's not kid ourselves. The Gary Johnson memes, not just like the funny memes where I will veto your life, but like the actual memes that the campaign has put out, that is great earned media. That is the new earned media. And you think about how many people are aware of Gary Johnson because those memes are on Facebook.
It's meme magic. And I'm not even joking when I say that. Like, and I know this is crazy. I am partial to Donald Trump because I liked him early on in the race because I just saw there's something weird happening.
Yeah.
It's not that I like Donald Trump and his policies. It's I like the way he's doing this.
It's totally.
He's laying waste to all these old curmudgeons, and he's not apologizing, and he's letting these wild kids on the internet, make things that are just totally obscene and offensive, and having no inclination to apologize for it. And it feels so good because it's, you're a racist, you're a bigot. And it's like, okay, I just won Wisconsin, or I just won South Carolina. I just told the Pope to go fuck himself, and I won. It feels really good.
I forgot he did that.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. He's broken every rule.
He literally stood on stage last night in front of veterans, invited to a veterans group that didn't invite Gary Johnson, by the way, and then got their ass kicked. And so now they're having a forum with
you know what
Gary.
He also did?
He stood on stage last night. He said, Putin is a great leader. I love that he complimented me.
No, if he says great things about me, I'll say great things about him.
That's
called diplomacy, though.
Our generals suck, and we're going to invade countries and steal their natural resources, and I don't give a shit if it's against the Geneva Convention. He is advocating for war crimes on a televised debate in prime time. And Gary not knowing about Aleppo is the main thing that people are talking about, and not that.
What's Aleppo?
It blows my mind that he's so far. Did you see last night? I posted the audio. He's getting briefings now.
Well, yeah.
And so Matt Lauer,
he is the nominee. I know people can't believe it, but he did win.
Right. But
he got the most Republican votes in the history of the Republican Party.
Could you imagine those meetings?
You know what? Everyone, the big donors that are coming around now, said, somebody just wrote an op-ed. They're saying, I would give anything if the Donald Trump that I am with in private, people got to see that Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So Sheldon Adelson said that, big backer after big backer said that, he sits there and he asks me for advice. And then Sheldon Adelson was like, you got to just say that sometimes you get fired up and you just say things you don't mean because you get so worked up in the moment and you're feeding off the energy. Next day he goes out and gives that speech in Mississippi where he says, I say things I don't mean because I get fired up. And that's smarts.
Yeah.
That's how you charm people and build people that don't necessarily like you. You ask them for advice, let them think they have influence, take their money, and then go out and win an election.
Right. He's a great con man. He's a great manipulator.
No, he honestly brokers deals. It's literally all transactional with him.
Right. But my point is that he's getting briefings, and Matt Lauer goes, so you're getting these briefings, and remember we're on live TV, so don't say anything. And goes
says,
on
right.
It's like we trust this guy so little that the moderator of a debate has to remind him not to share state secrets on national.
Well, you have to remind the Secretary of State. You couldn't read the C.
If they had a C next to it, don't talk about it right now.
Secretary of State didn't know.
Right.
It's that's the funny thing is and he's been doing this a year. These people have been doing it their whole lives.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is something about it that's refreshing because it's damn it, it's all farce anyway. The bureaucracy runs the world. You could elect a ham sandwich. Obama came in idealistic as all get it. I'm going to change the world. He couldn't even close Guantanamo. Signed the executive order day one. Obamacare is running at such a financial deficit, it's driving the insurance companies out of business.
We're still in Iraq and Afghanistan.
We're still in Iraq. He has made George W. Bush look like no one, and he's Attila the Hun of drone strikes.
Right.
And so it's the bureaucracy is what runs it. And so do I feel bad that I think it's funny Donald Trump has to be reminded not to share divulged state secrets in prime time? No, because it's great television and it's what I've been waiting on my whole damn life. And it feels good because they treat us like idiots. I'm going to throw an idiot right back at Chuck Todd. And what I love is he doesn't criticize Chuck Todd for being wrong. He calls him sleepy eyes in front of 10,000 people in stadiums. Can you imagine what he'd say to Tim Russert? It'd be the greatest. It'd be unbelievable. Everybody loves Tim Russert. I guarantee you Trump would call him
Tim
Dopey
Russert,
Tim or something
Tim
like
Russert's
that.
very chubby. He's so fat.
It'd be something so great in schoolyard.
Italian sausage, fingered fuck.
No, that's what it would be. He's very pink. It's weird.
Italian sausage Tim.
But so then Trump, Matt Lauer, the condescending guy, if you keep treating Trump like this, it's going to be counterproductive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he tells him, don't divulge state secrets. The guy that didn't graduate from community college in broadcasting is telling Donald Trump not to divulge state secrets on live air. And Donald Trump takes it in stride. And then they bring on a gotcha question about the VA. And she says, what would you intend to do about the 1 in 20 veterans that commit suicide every day, or is it every month, or every week in the United States?
Every week.
Every week, 1 in 20, and he goes, "Well, it's actually 1 in 22." Mm-hmm. He knew the stat, because it mattered. But I mean, I'll tell you what, we didn't get Aleppo right, but he knows the 1 in 22, and he's a total idiot.
Yeah,
he there was also influenced to stop ISIS, their growth.
Right,
you hit the oil fields, and it takes away their financing, and then they have to consolidate in.
Right,
that's what they did.
He's not sophisticated, and you can't tell if he means we're going to take their oil. Which I think that's what he means, because when he says certain things like we could save so much money if we had the oil, or if he means we're going to take their oil from them by burning it and hitting them with drone, So
he's not stupid. Like, he wants the oil to make it cheap.
Yeah, but there was also in that moment with 1 in 22, there was a sensitivity there, and there was a moment of if you go back and watch that, and watch his facial reactions and how he approaches that, and it something did strike me in that particular instance, because he said he realized he had basically corrected this woman on live TV, a veteran,
a
gotcha question, and he said it's actually 1 in 22, but 20 to 22, and he
he let her save face,
and exactly right, he saved face, and that was a moment of personal a moment of personal empathy, almost, that I went, oh, there might be a human being in there. There might actually be a person.
If he was as awful as he is in the press, right. Someone would have murdered him or shot him. I mean, it's just not, you can't live like this.
He's really a maniac.
Well, I mean, he is, but
his positions on half of these things are so, his idea of warfare is a cross between Torah, and Patton. He just thinks that he can find a General Patton, and that guy will go in and be Patton or General MacArthur, and they will wipe the floor. He has a very 1940s view.
Line up tanks and just steamroll them.
Right, and it just, that's not, I just kind of find
cyber warfare.
But there's condescension where he thinks that he's smarter than these generals. These guys don't become generals just because somebody thought, let's make this guy general.
No, they're all PhDs.
Right. You're a member of the military. Yeah. These guys are really smart guys who have spent their whole life studying how to defeat these people.
And there's an evolution in I guess, the general ranks during the 2000s, during the war, because and that's what changed how we handled the Iraq War and Afghanistan War, because we were going in there using these old models.
Tommy Franks.
And then, and then you got Petraeus and McChrystal and stuff like that, and they had a whole different idea of how to handle it. And it's so intricate and complicated now. It's incredible. I mean, I couldn't imagine these security briefings and stuff nowadays. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I'll tell you what would be refreshing, and this speaks to a Trump, is where I don't think Gary would do this. A McChrystal or a Petraeus, two guys who really did make things better for the troops and did make things more effective, went out under scandal. Donald Trump, if that was your guy, he would go up there and go, fuck off.
They fight for our country. I don't care if they're having an affair.
Yeah, right. No. Here's what
I've had 3. It's going to be, I'll probably have 4. It's not a big deal.
It's right.
Look at Clinton. He's had 30.
Yeah. So I would be interested to see if that would be his model, where he doesn't play the games of the press, and he doesn't play the games of these court games that are holdovers from the Victorian court politics has no place in a republic. It just doesn't. And we still play it.
Well, that's the media class.
Right.
It's the intelligentsia and the media class are part of the fringe political class. Then there's the real political class, like the Clintons and the Obamas now. Right. They are a very, very elite group, and the financiers that backed them. Then you have these people that are basically just dilettantes. They want to be Secretary of State, and they like to go and drop things. What would you do in Aleppo? They say questions like that. Even they're like the Seth Meyers version of comedy. They're writers who write for other writers.
Right.
They don't write for the masses. They're doing it so they get a complimentary email from their colleague. They don't care that it sold 50,000 copies like a James Carpenter book. You know what I mean? So that's, and they'll never like Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
They are the people who let Gary in, because he was a novelty and not a threat. And now he's taking from Hillary, and they're going to burn him to the ground and try to get him over and over. And Gary's got to up his game. You know, that's what I loved is Gary said, I was extremely frustrated with myself, and he canceled several of his other media appearances today to get his act together. I thought, this will work. Gary was sincere, and he's so damn nice. You just can't be mad at the guy. Yeah. Like at first, everyone was like, oh, this is just another politician. And then it was like, oh, he's so cute. What a little guy. And then then I started watching on 4chan. I was kind of watching this develop. At first, it was like, Gary's a cuck. Yeah, right. You know, Aleppo, the cuck from Aleppo. And then it turned into, he released his thing, and it was like, we're going to take down Hillary and everyone in the media. And like they started trying to dox them and, you know, get their financial records. And I thought, this is a good thing. Yeah. This is the way it's supposed to work. You know, now he has like a digital cyber army that'll do the necessary things he doesn't want to do. And I don't know. I think the best thing that happened today was it all worked. It literally couldn't have come off any better, as weird as that sounds.
Right. Absolutely.
No, yeah, you're right.
It was a human moment. It showed him to be the genuine, nice, authentic guy he is, and different than the other two candidates. And it got him on the front page of Politico the entire day.
Yep. All right. Well, we need to wrap up this episode of We're Libertarians. We're going to jump into in the next episode. Well, you'll just have to tune in to hear it. So, final thoughts, boys, on this particular issue.
Go ahead, Greg.
What is Aleppo?
Exactly.
Killed him. No. Yeah, why did you kill Harambe's brother, Gary? Yeah. No.
That's funny.
The real answer is either one, rephrase it and say, well, what specifically are you asking there? Like, are you looking for a policy distinction? Are you looking for just a general, clarify it when you're freaking running for office? The other thing is, you know what? It's so simple. We're not interventionists.
Yeah.
So if you think it's a place, well, personally, even though I'd be commander-in-chief, I see it as our role is to protect, ourselves domestically, scale down our foreign entanglements, and then with humanitarian issues, listen, that tugs at my heartstrings, but at the end of the day, I can't risk an American soldier's life trying to stop a sectarian civil war. That is not the role of the United States military, and I'm not going to provide targets, and that's what we've been doing, and that's why we're in the mess we're in. And leave it there.
Yep.
Yeah, big picture, I mean, I still think he's the best candidate. It's hilarious to me that this is the news today, was this one little gaffe, but then on the other hand, like we've all said, press is press.
Yep.
He needed it. He'll take it. In the moment, I wished during that interview he would have handled it a little differently.
Like a politician.
Yeah, he spun his way out of that one, and he didn't. But throughout the course of the day, he did handle it correctly. I mean, and we're seeing it. We've talked about it. It's we
got lucky.
He did, yeah. Well, yeah, we did. It turned into news, and he handled it correctly.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
otherwise, libertarians would have been hanging themselves by 3 p.m.
And if he would have spun his way out of it earlier, this morning in the interview, we wouldn't be talking about it right now.
Nope.
So, I mean,
if
I guess
Bill
it worked
Weld
out
had
great.
been the one interviewed, this would have gone unnoticed.
It'd be another one we
didn't know about.
It was
that blonde-haired guy that's got a very rosy complexion.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and they both do. They have interviews. I mean, we try and stay on top of it, but we know they have interviews all the time now, which is a great thing that we don't even know about. They're on shows all the time.
Yeah.
And this would have been another one. We didn't know he was.
You're telling me that you don't know when our candidates are going on the media?
Our candidate, I've got.
I've got 6 of my own, and we've got
communications. Right. All right, kids. Thank you for joining us on this episode of We Are Libertarians. We love you all very much. Please be sure to share this information. Thanks to Chris Mayo and Greg Lenz for being here. And as always, we promise
to do better next time.
Hey. It's Dear Leader again. All these commercials that you love, that I'm talking about, you need to complain about them. I can tell. I know you hate it. I know you're just sitting there, listening, going, oh my God, when is this going to end? How many of there? Oh, I can't take it anymore. I just need to tell him how stupid he is. Well, you can do that. You have many, many, many ways to tell me how dumb I am. Or how much you hate this show, or how much you hate these commercials, or how much you hate me, or how much you love Greg. Everybody loves Greg more than me. Oh, God. Anyways, go to WeAreLibertarians.com. On the sidebar, we've got all of our social links. You can hate us or love us on YouTube. You can join our Facebook group and talk with other listeners and see our daily dump. No, It's not a number 2. It's a news dump. Greg posts a lot of articles, and only half of them are about Donald Trump. So go to wearelibertarians.com, and on the sidebar, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on SoundCloud, we're even on Google+. That's right. We don't ever post there because nobody goes there, but we're on it. So please, wearelibertarians.com, check it out, join in on the conversation, and you too can make fun of Dear Leader via memes. Thank you for listening to the We're Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at wearelibertarians.com.